Welcome back to Breslov campus. Insights on encouragement and not falling from attacks of the evil side. To explain what Reb Noson explains in the Kutei Halachot, in the laws of what constitutes a kosher vessel used for washing the hands with water before eating, for example. So amongst the laws of having a qualified kosher vessel, there is that it has to have the quantity, minimal quantity of a revi'it of water, which is approximately, they say, about 80 something milliliters of water. That's the minimal amount, but it's obviously it's preferred that a person fills a lot of water, much more in the cup, so he can pour abundantly without having to be very scrutinized and very constricted in the amount of waters. But still, there is a minimum amount called the revi'it. So now, the vessel, the cup used, must have the volume enough to contain within it this revi'it. So now, what if the vessel has a hole? So in this, the halacha explains the size of the hole, which renders the vessel to be unfit. The size of the hole is called motzi mashke. There are two types of holes. There's a hole on the vessel, if it's like a plastic cup, for example, or earthenware, whatever it is, or metal, that there's two sizes. There's one size which is smaller, and that when this hole exists, water inside the vessel can leave. It's called motzi mashke. That if you have now the revi'it, the quantity, the proper quantity, and that the vessel is fit to carry this quantity of water, and yet there is this small hole which allows water to come out, so the vessel is still valid. It's still kosher. When does the cup become invalid? On a bigger sized hole, which allows water from outside to come into the cup. So for example, if I were to put this cup with the entrance of the cup on top, and just put the actual walls of the cup in water, and there's the hole there, and water starts entering into the cup is no longer halachically valid, kosher, for washing the hands. You need to find another cup, or that it's big enough that you can cut it, and you can, or the hole is big enough and you can wash your hands from the hole, or to cut it and level it out, that there exists from the hole downwards enough to carry the volume of every eat, they can use that vessel. But the halacha says clearly, there's what's called kones mashke, motzi mashke, that if the hole is smaller, and water can come out, but still water cannot come in, the vessel is still valid. But if now the hole is bigger, so that water from outside can come into the cup from that hole, the whole cup is no longer valid. So Reb Noson explains in the Kutei Halachot something amazing, that you see that what comes out of the vessel is, if there's a hole and what's coming from inside out is still valid, comes to tell a person, then even if you lose part of you go through major ups and downs in your life, and you just accomplished and then you lost that accomplishment. One morning you get up in the morning and you daven and you feel good and you get a lot accomplished, a lot of good things done, and the next day you crash. You are still in the picture. You are still a valid vessel to receive the blessings of Hashem, because like the water in the cup is like the idea of blessings, right? So with being a vessel to contain that water, that blessing, that abundance, the hole is still small enough that you're still a valid vessel, even if you're losing out. What does it help if that I learn Torah and do mitzvot if afterwards I do terrible things and I lose? It's called motzi mashke. You have a hole in you that's letting out what you've accomplished, taken in. You are still a valid vessel. Where's the problem? If the hole is bigger and externalities can enter into you, that the hole is big enough that external, what's called maim zedonim, foreign philosophies, thoughts and ideologies which come to blemish your vessel, which is mainly to blemish your faith and your connection and your commitment to Hashem, to the Torah, to the tzaddikim, to the truth, to yourself. So now when external ideology enters you from outside inside, then you lose your status of being a proper and fit vessel. In other words, when the lack, the blemish, the chisaron, the damage is internal, you are still in the picture. There's still hope for you. You keep on going. But when the damage is external, coming in and ruining and blemishing your faith and your awareness and your commitment, then there's a problem. This comes to relate that in Judaism, a person needs a lot of what's called self-confidence, self-value, and not to be influenced by what other people tell you. If what they tell you and bring to you brings you down and makes you having doubts, makes you cuckoo, makes you nuts and not stable in your avodat Hashem, you have a job to block it, to not allow what they're telling you to bring you down. If it's bringing you down, you don't have to accept it because it's ruining your faith. And they can say, but what I'm telling you is the truth and it makes sense. Still, the way you're presenting it to me is making a hole in my cup, a hole in my vessel, and I don't want this in. I'm putting a blockage. I'm not allowing a hole to enter what you are telling me to bring me down. But now, if what I'm going through personally, ups and downs, oh Hashem, I did this, I did that, person feels bad about himself, he's still in the picture. Because that hole is still considered tinier, that as opposed to when a person lets himself have negative influences from other people to bring doubts in his whole self and his whole vessel, his whole cup. So here we see something amazing, that a person should not be turned off by his deeds, his misdeeds, and make a conclusion, that's it, I'm out of the picture. After all the good that Hashem did for me and I do this, for sure I'm out, I have no world to come, for sure I have Gehinam, for sure I'm finished. No, there's no room for that. Because the halacha is that if you're motzi mashke, if you have drops coming out, the idea that you're blemishing, there's still hope. It's when the opposite is true, when you allow external ideologies to come and to influence you and bring you down that way, then you're in danger. For this reason, Rabbi Nachman says a person really, really needs to guard his mind and thoughts from extraneous thinking, and to always put himself on guard to make sure that he's within the parameters of kosher and proper thinking, kosher and proper faith, in order that his vessel should be maleh, complete.